For instance, a black snake comes in a dream, a great big black snake. And you can spend a whole hour with this black snake talking about the devouring mother, talking about the anxiety, talking about the repressed sexuality, talking about the natural mind, all these interpretive moves that people make, and what is left, what is vitally important, is what that snake is doing, this crawling, huge black snake that's walking into your life. Now that's an absolutely basic, important distinction between interpretation and imagination. And the moment you've defined the snake, interpreted it, you've lost the snake, you've stopped it, and then the person leaves the hour with a concept about my repressed sexuality or my cold black passions or my mother or whatever it is, and you've lost the snake. The tasks of analysis is to keep the snake there, the black snake, and there are various ways for keeping the black snake. You see, the black snake is no longer necessary the moment it's been interpreted, and you don't need your dreams anymore because they've been interpreted. So you can also imagine that interpretation, reductive, clarifying interpretations are a way of getting rid of imagination. And that's one of my complaints about therapy. I'm not saying that's what it does and has to do and only does, but that's one of the possible complaints about therapy, that it can get rid of imagination rather than promote imagination. But I think you need them, the dreams, all the time. You need that very image you had during the night. You need that very image you had during the night. And you see, it's a disturbing image because in some cultures, Eskimo culture, you have several souls. And the soul that dreams is going off somewhere and doing things, and then it doesn't fit easily with the day world soul. So when it comes back, the day world soul doesn't want to know all this stuff. It disturbs whatever else you're going to do. And so the feeling that you need your dream isn't something that we live with usually. We try to fit the dream into the day world, although it comes from another place. See, at night you are in your dream, walking around in it, and you feel yourself to be enclosed in this scene, which is the dream. And the moment you wake up in the morning, you say, I had a dream, and you think the dream is in you. So you can get the feeling of these two souls very clearly that way. In the morning, you believe the dream's somewhere in you, in your head or somewhere. But at night, you're in the dream has you. And it's hard to move back and forth between those two feelings. Yes?
In working with the imagination, can you build, I mean, you just allow that image to just...
Well, let me go on a little longer. We see what happens. You need that very image you had during the night. For example, a policeman chasing you down the street. You need that image because that image keeps you in an imaginative possibility. If you say, oh, my guilt complex is loose again and is chasing me down the street, it's a different feeling because you've taken up the unknown policeman into your ego system of what you know, your guilt. You already know you're guilty, and so you just put the label of guilt on the policeman chasing you down the street, and then you're comfortable again. I mean, you still may feel guilty, but you're comfortable. The dream isn't doing anything upsetting to you. It's a different feeling because you've absorbed the unknown into the known, or made the unconscious conscious. And nothing, absolutely nothing has happened. Nothing. You're really safe from that policeman, and you can go to sleep again. So, rather than, as Freud says, the dream protects sleep, I think interpretation protects sleep. Your interpretation protects your sleep. I want to let the psyche threaten the hell out of you by keeping that policeman there, chasing you down the street, even now as we talk. The policeman is more important than what we say about him. Now that is so hard for us. That is so hard to realize that a phenomenon is always more interesting than the explanation of the phenomenon. Explanations are never as interesting as the phenomenon. And the phenomenon, the only thing interesting about an explanation is if you take that too as a phenomenon. So we come to the question, what's the point of interpretation or criticism, and how do you do it, and so. I mean, the image is always more inclusive and more complex. It's a complex, isn't it, than the concept. Let's make that a rule. That's why stick to the image is another rule in archetypal psychology. So who is the policeman? Is he guilt? Or is he the sense of the law? Is he the sense of order? Is he the sense of the city, the polis? Has he something to do with an inherent structure of consciousness that wants something from you, or reminds you of something, or calls you to him? Otherwise he wouldn't be chasing you. You need to keep the policeman there so that you can learn what he is up to and what keeps you running. And running in the street, and into the street. See, each of those is a metaphor. Running into the street, running in the street, being chased. Are you chased because, are you being pursued because you're running, or are you running because you're being pursued? Maybe the policeman wouldn't chase you if you stood still, but because you're running, he has to be chasing, and so on. So there's all of that play goes on, which is imaginative play. The images are where the psyche is. People say, I don't know what the soul is, or I've lost my soul, or whatever. To me, the place to look when you feel that way is immediately to the images that show where you are with your soul in your dreams. See, what we tend to do is try to get up and outside and look down on ourselves and evaluate where we are. I'm now 37 and I'm nowhere with my career, or I'm now 46 and my wife just left me, and now, so where am I? What am I going to do next? And sort of lay it all out from some point in outer space, instead of, and then I'm lost, I don't know who I am, I have no identity, all of that stuff. Whereas if you just see where you actually are, not only where you actually are in the house or the neighborhood or the physical place you are, but where you are. What did you dream last night? That's where your soul is. And what is your mood? That's where your soul is. My mood is actually, I'm questioning myself. I'm trying to find out who I am. That's telling you where you are. That's exactly where you are. You're about 400 feet up, watching. Yes?
You're saying the psyche knows exactly what images...
It sends very precise images.
Very precise.
Yes.
It knows exactly how to communicate.
No, it doesn't communicate very well, because you don't usually get it.
But it tries.
That's the way I would think about it, yeah. It's constantly sending you messages. Not messages, images. Images. So could it be a teacher of imagination? And instead of imagining it as a communicator, it is an imaginer. And we keep trying to get the information out of it. And maybe it isn't an information service. Maybe it's an imagination service. But we're hooked on information. That's a big difference. And then you don't read the dreams for messages. You read them for inspirations, fantasies, laughs, tears. You read them for other things, not for information. Now we're absolutely hooked on information. We have to realize that. There's more and more and more information, less and less knowledge. They have nothing to do with each other.